train with the kids or play with the kids when you're older. So we get a lot of people come in to see us, and that's their goal. You know, they're getting in 60s, 70s, and they're finding it a little bit hard to keep up with the 3-, 4-year-old grandnephew or grandson, granddaughter, and so they just want a better quality of life. So the question then would remain, how would you train if you're a ballet dancer or a marathon runner or an Olympic lifter or a wrestler or a boxer, an Olympic rower, or then if you're a bricklayer or a removalist, or a firefighter or an ambulance attendant. Again, history, and I guess in the last through the 70s, 80s, and especially 90s, we find that most people would train very, very similar no matter what they were doing. The only exception there would be probably the Olympic lifter, is very sport specific. But most, even the Olympic rowers, you see people in the rowing team, they go into the gym and they'll be sitting doing leg extensions, okay, expecting that that's going to improve their sport. So out of these activities, who would be the fittest? The question then asks, what is fitness? So Coach Glassman, most people would be familiar, a lot of people would be familiar with CrossFit. So Coach Glassman developed CrossFit, and he's broken it down into 10 attributes of endurance, stamina, strength, flexibility, coordination, agility, balance, accuracy, speed, and power. So these are the 10 different elements that make up fitness. Endurance, stamina, strength, and flexibility are aspects of fitness that are improved through training. So the more you do, the better you get. Coordination, agility, balance, and accuracy are skills of fitness that are developed through practice. So it's slowing things down and trying to get the skill right. This is where we improve our neuromuscular, our nervous system, to be able to coordinate movements a little bit better. Power and speed are adaptations of both training and practice. We put those things together in the right formulation, we get speed and power, and often work within an anaerobic threshold, which means over a very short space of time, often heavy lifting. So a truly functional athlete or individual must maintain a reasonable level of accomplishment in all 10 levels to be considered fit, in certainly my mind, and definitely Coach Glassman's. And that's what we call athletic. Yeah? So going back to the 70s and 80s, who here is a true athlete? So a marathon runner. I've worked with a lot of triathletes, a few marathon runners, and what are they very, very good at? Running. What else are they very good at? Maybe riding a bike if they're a triathlete, or swimming if they're a swimmer. Yeah? If we're going back to a marathon runner, do you think a marathon runner is very strong? No. My sister could outlift most marathon runners. Yeah? My sister is smaller than me, believe it or not. Right? She's about there. So you can see that a marathon runner has really cornered the market in a very small section of those 10 attributes of fitness. So could you say this marathon runner, say he wins 4 marathons in a row, and you get a magazine cover saying the fittest man in the world? You see it all the time. Would he be the fittest man in the world? No, he'd be the best marathon runner in the world. But fitness, again, we got to kind of change our ideas on fitness a little bit. So how about this guy, or these two guys? Do you think this person or these two people need to be athletic? Their skill level is going to have to be high. They're going to have to have a reasonable level of strength, coordination, agility, balance. Do you think they need good balance? How about good timing to grab things when they need to be grabbed? Right? So the skill set that these guys need is much, much greater than that marathon runner. So if we were to pick 10, that marathon runner would probably take 2 categories. These guys may take 4 or 5. Okay? So the way I would train these guys would be train them like an athlete. Yeah? Because they're going to need those attributes. A marathon runner, not so much. We're going to be a little bit more specific. So how about a fireman or a competitive rower? Okay? Again, very, very different skill sets needed. But, you know, the fireman, you imagine that burning building, you know, running in, grabbing those kids or the family, you know, saving people, all that sort of thing. They're going to need a lot of skill sets for that. This one's for the girls. Leave it on there for a sec. Ready? Ready? All right. javelin thrower, police officer, all the same thing. So now we're looking at ideas where we actually have to accommodate the training to match what we're doing outside the training walls, not the other way around. Again, traditionally, we kind of, no matter what you did, we all trained the same. These days, it's a lot different. So one of the most dangerous jobs in the world is, you know, these net fishing, or, you know, that boat's rocking, you know, people are losing arms and limbs all the time. So you have to have quite good coordination and strength. How about this guy? Yeah, I lived in China for a while, and we used to see the craziest things. And these people would haul things like this, or, you know, families that, you know, have their laundry that's, they must do laundry like once a year because it's like massive, right? So depending on what you're doing, you've got to train accordingly. So what are you trying to achieve from your fitness routine? Is it to improve your movement function, or is it purely aesthetic? Again, they're two different camps. So you can see we got rings here, very similar to in the picture, exactly the same probably. So this person is really training for function. So not only is he training for a bench press, or for a push-up rather, but he's also in a position where we've made it very unstable because he's on rings, and then we've put his feet up on a garbage tin. So do you think he's working a little bit more than his chest? Absolutely he is. There's not too many muscles in his body that aren't working at this moment in time, as he's doing basically a push-up. Yeah? You don't need that for bodybuilding. You see, bodybuilding is the method of training that everyone's adopted for function. So when people go to improve their football, or they go to improve their quality of life, or they go and improve their rowing, or whatever it happens to be, and they go into a fitness center, what are they going into the fitness center to do? Bodybuilding. Bodybuilding does not improve anything except for the size of your muscles and how you look, which is important for a lot of people. How you look is important. But don't confuse that with the idea of improving your movement function. It is not the same. In fact, it'll go against it. All we have to do is get a bodybuilder who does nothing but bodybuilding. They come in, they look like that Greek god. Okay, they look pretty good. But if we test their function, we will find, because they've isolated all their muscles through all their training, we find they're very or uncoordinated with all their movements. So in fact, while their aesthetics go up, their ability to function goes down considerably in just about all areas. Do you think bodybuilders get sore low backs? All the time. It's one of the big problems with bodybuilding. Okay? How about transition for a sport? You get a bodybuilder or somebody who does bodybuilding style lifting and get them to play football, and it doesn't work very good. You get these big guys standing out bouncing in front of nightclubs, and you think, God, look at that guy, I wouldn't want to mess with him. They come in to do martial arts training with us all the time, and we hold focus mitts for them, and they don't hit very hard because their coordination ability has been diminished substantially by the means at which they train. So bodybuilding is isolating muscles with specific exercises, like bicep curls or leg extensions, and use progressive loading to maximize growth. It's a hypertrophy routine to get bigger. Goals to hypertrophy or develop muscle balance, and result overdeveloped musculature, limited function of movement, and very limited in the majority of our 10 physical attributes. Functional fitness